To everybody new here, my name is Chef Dom. I am a chef here in Edmonds at this beautiful kitchen studio that we built where we do this sort of online virtual class experience during the day. And then at night, we do a in-person dinner party experience where we cook together and we eat together. It's just such a blast. So if you're ever in Edmonds, come on down. We'd love to have you. Yes, Cajun favorites. So I am from the Midwest, as Claudia said. She's a local Wisconsinite. I am a local Illinoisan, Chicagoan. I feel like in the Midwest, there's a really good hodgepodge of food, especially in Chicago. But I feel like it's kind of, you get the mix from the East, you get the mix from the West, you get the mix from the South, and it kind of all funnels up into the Midwest. And I feel like there's a lot of great eaters there. And so this was one of the first recipes I challenged myself with, jambalaya, because it's so good. And it's like a one pot dish, which we love. I know that the 12 Tomatoes audience loves a one pot dish. And I just think it's a really good thing to have in your arsenal, because at the end of the day, it's just like adding a little bit of protein, a little bit of vegetable, throw in some rice, cook that rice, and have it like solidify all together to make this really flavorful stew of sorts. It is so good. If you've never had jambalaya before, you can make any combination of it with any meats you have. Today we're doing chicken breasts and andouille sausage for that smoky sausage flavor. You can totally omit the sausage if you'd like, but it just adds this smokiness to it. It's like pork fat, something about pork fat, really. Bacon, pancetta, prosciutto really just changes the way broth tastes. And all we're trying to do is make a really flavorful broth. If anyone's made paella before, this is very similar to paella, except we're not using a paella pan, we're using a big Dutch oven. When we're using a big heavy bottom pan like this, we want to make sure to scrape it a little bit to get that rice off the bottom. But other than that, it's such a simple recipe. And I know you guys are going to love it, especially my returning people. Love to see you guys back. Okay. And we're making hot sauce. Isn't that crazy? Like how easy it is to make hot sauce. We're using red jalapenos, kind of the easiest to find of the peppers, and spicy peppers that will kind of give us that mock Louisiana Tabasco sort of vibe. So yeah, you're gonna see how fast in like 10 minutes, or 20 minutes, I would say, we're gonna make a delicious hot sauce that we're gonna add to our jambalaya. So we love 2 recipes in one. You can use this hot sauce for anything. It lasts in your fridge for like up to a month, even longer, honestly. It's just preserved in vinegar, so you're good to go. But yeah, as always, if you guys are cooking with me, I love that. Keep the conversation moving in the chat. Let me know how things are going. Ask any questions you'd like. I'm here for you guys. But cheers to our returning guests, our new guests. Let's make some delicious food today. I got some coffee. It's 1 p.m. here. Perfect time for lunch. Even better time for coffee. The best pick-me-up. Okay, so what I'm doing first, we are heating up our Dutch oven. Big Dutch oven pan. We love a Dutch oven. Get yourself one. Name her something beautiful. This is Rose. I just made that up right now. Every stream we have a different name for our cast iron. Today she's Rose. Anyway, we want to preheat this. Anytime you're cooking, always preheat what you're cooking in, especially because it will slow everything down if you don't. Just give it a minute. Just give it a minute. That's all it's asking for. So while I'm giving it a minute, I'm going to add my fat into the pan so it can melt. I have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 2 tablespoons of butter. So always when you're using butter to sear something, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of oil to kind of mediate how brown the butter gets. Because as you know, if you've cooked with butter before, if you seared something with butter, you know it starts to blacken, it starts to burn. Those milk fats start to burn in the butter. The oil kind of helps disperse that butter so that there's more area for the butter to kind of work its way in, and that vegetable oil that has such a high heat point will slow down the cooking process of the butter and browning process of the butter. So I would say a good rule of thumb is to just like let this heat up, wait till your butter melts, and then we should be good to go. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add in our andouille sausage. So
quick question. Sorry, chef.
Yeah.
So is it important for salted or unsalted butter? What are you using today?
Good question. So I would say it's kind of an important question since we buy butter in the pound. You know, every chef and their mom will tell you to buy unsalted butter because you can control the amount of salt. My issue is that I don't feel that people salt their food enough. So I would just tend to go with the salted butter here. I would say the only time salted butter really matters is if you're making like a caramel or a bread dough, maybe making a hollandaise sauce. I don't find it to be too intrusive. So if you are on the unsalted butter train, you're watching your cholesterol, got it, good. But if you don't give a shit, go with the salted butter. It's easy. Especially when you mount butter in to a sauce, it's nice to have that salt. Kind of like adding a little water. When you add unsalted butter, you have to kind of make up for the lack of salt in there. So you have to season it a little bit more. And I know that people kind of are weary about how many times they reach into their salt to salt things. So that's a great question. But no food rules for me, baby. All right, so what I'm doing with this andouille sausage, I'm just kind of trying to make a nice even plate. Mark, can you pan to the inside of this pot? I'm not sure if you can see inside of it. So I want to get a nice sear on the sausage. We're not just putting the sausage in here to warm it up. We want to get a beautiful sear. So you know what people do this with. I've had this before with kielbasa. Tell me if you had in the chat like fried bologna, I think it's called, where they put like barbecue sauce, they sear it and then they put barbecue sauce. It's kind of like burnt ends, but for kielbasa or like smoked sausage. What is that called? But anyway, the point is you want to get it as browned as that. You want to get some deep amber colors on there, especially because as it cooks in the tomato sauce, all of that color will go away. And you know, I took a cruise on MSC one time, which is an Italian-born cruise that they just started out of Florida, and they served like hot dogs in everything. It was like hot dog mac and cheese. And I'm not biased towards hot dogs. I just hate the way they look in things. And so if you don't brown these, it'll look like hot dogs in your jambalaya. And you're like, who puts hot dogs in the jambalaya? Crazy. So I'm just going to mix this around. I'm not worried about flipping each and every single piece over. Like, no, thank you. Who has time for that? If you want to do that, great. Love you for that. But just mix it around. You'll get some pieces that flip over, some pieces that don't. And that's totally fine because the pieces that don't will get even more amber flavored. And with fat like this, like you really can't go wrong, even if you get a good char on it. So if you burn it a little bit, hells to the yes. Gumbo, which is a very, very traditional Cajun food, is made with basically taking flour and butter and taking it as far as you can until it's just burnt. So it has this extremely strong bitter flavor to it, and it's so good. And people who like gumbo know that. So don't like fear if you burn anything. It's not that big of a deal. We will get to in a second what the Cajun Holy Trinity is, which while this is searing, we can totally get into it. I'm going to salt my chicken breast a little bit. If it's just spread out in a bowl here. Mark, can you pan back out? Thank you. So I'm just salting up my chicken in a bowl, kind of spreading it around. I'm not too concerned about seasoning both sides of the chicken. I'm worried about seasoning one side of the chicken, and then I'm gonna flip this chicken into the pan. Just do a quick scoop, and season the other side. I'll get to the Holy Trinity in 1 second. So look at this sausage. Look at how gorgeous this browning is. Oh my God. So there's a lot of like fat that turns to sugar in this process, and you're just look at this. Are you kidding me? And we're creating this gorgeous fond at the bottom. What I'm noticing is that the butter is burning a little bit. We've reached that high heat. And I'm gonna start scooping the sausage out, leaving the fat in there. Don't rush yourself. I'm gonna lower the heat all the way to low. That way I'm not gonna burn anything. Then I'll throw this.
I'm not in the
chicken
studio right now, but it looks like, I bet it smells really good in there.
Oh my God, it smells so good. If Claudia wasn't a vegetarian, she would eat the hell out of this.
I would be there eating the whole bowl, I swear.
Maybe we could use some like Trader Joe's chorizo in it next time.
That's
Make something even better.
I was gonna ask some meatless substitutions for this because I've seen this be made before in the studio, and I was like, what could I use that isn't this? And I think we're gonna I'll have to try to look into some meatless sausage to make something.
Yeah, exactly. Like and you said it yourself, like meatless sausage is getting so much better.
It's getting there.
So right.
Definitely
so
getting there.
we can get there. We can get there together. Okay. Putting in my block of chicken. You can see that I basically got all of that seasoned side down. And now I'm going to salt this side. Super important to season the chicken here. You will have very plain pieces of chicken. You'll have a very flavorful broth, but with a very plain tasting piece of chicken breast if you do not season it. So really take that time to do that. And I don't mind breaking this up. All I want to make sure is that everything is touching the bottom surface of the pan. Okay, so let's talk about the Holy Trinity. Holy Trinity of Cajun cuisine is peppers, onions, and celery. A very refreshing blend with the celery addition, and a very spicy blend with the peppers. Today I'm using bell peppers and jalapenos. Green bell peppers are the traditional Holy Trinity. If you didn't know this already, green peppers are the unripened version of a red bell pepper. So that's why red bell peppers are considered sweet red bell peppers, because they're ripened. So even in the same circumstance as red jalapenos, these get sweeter as they ripen. The jalapeno gets sweeter as it ripens, as it sits on the vine. And in turn, it will also get spicier, especially because of the capsaicin seed inside of it. So this will be a really spicy salsa, or spicy hot sauce. If you don't want it super spicy, how am I judging super spicy? I would say a red jalapeno is a little bit spicier than a normal jalapeno. So if you can handle normal jalapeno, you should be good. But if you didn't want so much spice, just remove the seeds. All right, so I can see that my chicken has got taking on a lot of that fat, a lot of that browning. It's getting coated basically in that sausage fat and some of that butter fat that's starting to burn at the bottom of the pan. I'm just gonna gently move it around, flip it over. I know I said I wasn't gonna flip shit over, but here I am. You know what? Screw it. We're cooking today, baby. All right, so I'm gonna just move this around. It's nice and seared, but I want to make sure we get one more really hard brown sear on our chicken before we continue going forward. You can totally use chicken thighs here. You could totally, shrimp is a really great addition into jambalaya as well. But next, what we're going to do is, with the chicken in there already, we're going to add in our peppers and our onions. Because we don't really need to remove anything anymore. All we're doing now is sweating the onions, sweating the jalapenos. Oh, my heat was super low. I forgot to turn it up. So we're gonna sweat those onions, sweat those jalapenos. While that's going, I'm actually gonna get started this hot sauce. So it's super duper easy. 6 red jalapenos. Like I said, you could find them at the grocery store. It's quite possibly like the most like hot pepper, hot sauce pepper to use available at grocery stores. I would say serrano peppers are good, especially if you're looking for like a greener sort of hot sauce, but that's also pretty spicy. This is a good place to start, especially if you want to try and mimic that Louisiana Tabasco-iness. So 6 peppers, I just cut into pieces, kept the seeds in. If you've never made hot sauce before, it's basically like making a pickle. So what I'm doing is I'm adding 1 cup of white vinegar and a half cup of water. That's to balance the vinegar out. So that it's not so harsh. You basically diluting the water or the vinegar. We're gonna add in a couple garlic cloves for flavor. And then of course some salt. So kind of the rule of thumb when you're making a pickle to make sure that what it's being pickled in tastes vinegary and salty. Those are kind of the rule of thumb when making hot sauce or when pickling anything. Because what's going to happen is that's going to absorb, these peppers are going to absorb this salty vinegary water. And it's going to taste exactly like the water, which is weird to think, but that's why when you're making pickles, if you don't season it enough, your pickles won't have much of a flavor. So you really want to make sure it's at like peak salty, peak vinegary. So I'm going to taste it for you guys, just for you. And I'm going to taste the finished sauce. And I'm not that big of a hot sauce person. So you're going to watch me cry live on cam today.
So if there was a hot sauce that like a store-bought hot sauce you would compare this homemade hot sauce to, what would it be? Just so people can maybe like kind of get the idea of what it's smelling like, tasting like.
Right. That's a good question. So I would say it's kind of like a mix of Frank's Red Hot and Louisiana Tabasco sauce. Louisiana Tabasco uses cayenne peppers, which are longer, smaller peppers, more spicy, less of a pepper flavor to it. So it doesn't have that quite harsh of a taste, but it does have like a butteriness to it, like a Frank's Red Hot sort of buffalo sauce does. It's not buffalo sauce in any way, but it is very hot saucy. Would you say so? I know, Claudia, you tasted a little bit of it and you're a lover of hot sauce.
Yeah, it definitely has that, like, it's not as because Tabasco it's super watery where it's a lot of vinegar. I would say it's a lot of it's a mix where like it's not so buttery like a buffalo sauce, but it has like that nice like tangy vinegar like a Tabasco. So yeah, I wouldn't put it on just one, but like you said, like right in the middle of those.
Right. Yeah, and what I love about it is just it lasts forever. You make it for one recipe, but it lasts forever. Okay, our chicken is nice and browned, nice and cooked even. I'm gonna add in my vegetables. So 1 onion, 1 red bell pepper, 2 jalapenos that I've seeded already, and some celery, 2 stalks of celery. What's everybody making tonight? What's on the dinner menu today? Anybody thinking about dinner? Got pre-planned what's dinner tonight? Is anyone making this soon?
Yeah, anyone, let us know if you're cooking along with us today. I'd love to know.
Oh, yes.
Let us know if you're following along. If not, let us know if you're gonna make this later.
Oh, as soon as you add the peppers and the onions, it just fills the air with such a good aroma. Just smells like home cooking when you add it. I'm gonna add in the garlic right now. Controversial opinion, but people kind of add garlic in way later than when the onions are cooked and everything. And I prefer to add them in while they're cooking because you're adding in all this vegetable. It's going to the heat is going to diminish. It's going to go down as it's heating all these vegetables up. So you want to make sure to add in kind of everything, even the fragile vegetables that might cook quacker, because you're sweating the vegetables, but then you can tell when everything's ready by when the garlic is browned, because that will be the true test of when we add in the tomatoes next.
We have Kevin in the chat who says he's making sous vide chuck roast.
Sous vide chuck roast, yum.
Chuck roast. I don't.
Sous vide.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's French.
And then we have Debbie who said she would love to see the vegetarian substitutions. She's trying to become more plant-based. Me too, Debbie. I'd love to see the vegetarian substitutions.
That's a good feedback.
We're thinking of doing some meatless taste tests. So look out for that. We're still trying to figure that out. And then we have someone who's actually thinking about making your Italian sausage and white bean stew that we made in one of your classes.
Yes, I love it. I know
it's
it well.
Favorite. It is a favorite. That's awesome.
A favorite. Have you made it already? Oh, I love that.
And then we have Elizabeth who's making slow cook pork shoulder with cumin and garlic.
Yum.
Amy who wants to make this recipe tonight.
Very Cuban style, slow cooked pork shoulder with cumin in it. Very, very Cuban style pork. Hope you make a Cuban sandwich with the leftovers. Just saying.
Our plant-based Debbie is making crispy black bean tacos and yellow rice with guac. I want to come over, Debbie.
Yum.
That sounds delicious.
There's nothing better, I would say, than beans and corn tortillas and lettuce. It is so good. And sour cream too. Can't be vegan. Of course.
A gallon of sour cream for me.
Love that, Debbie. Love that. Okay, so my veg is going to be taking a minute to cook in here. You can just hear it, you can just see it. It needs to kind of create a nice flat surface at the bottom to start caramelizing some of these vegetables. Just because it's a big pan, we added a lot of vegetables, it's got to go down. I'm going to add in my smoked paprika though. Super important ingredient in this recipe is, like, again, the smokiness of it all. So we have the andouille sausage for that smokiness that we infused into the fat that's cooking into the vegetables. And now we're seasoning the vegetables directly with a smoky spice. If you're not a fan of smoked paprika, if you're not a fan of smoky flavors, you can omit it. I just think you need to get that flavor somehow. Maybe that's a little Worcestershire sauce for salt. That adds a nice kind of umami funk to it. You definitely, the smoke really helps, like, I don't know, marry it all together. Liquid smoke if you're going wild, but I mean, I guess if you hate smoke, you might not add any smoke to it. I'm gonna add in my andouille sausage back because nice and warm. It won't turn down the heat in our pan that we've already developed. But now you can see we've got a lot of color going on in here. Look at this color.
So
woo, the smell.
Dom, I noticed that you didn't like pat the sausage with, like, take out any of the grease. You put the fat right back in.
Yeah, so the fat's important, especially in sausage. Like, all we're doing is we want to render out that fat that is all added into that sausage for us, because it will continue on to something better. Now, would I say we should do that for all sausage? Maybe not. It's just depending on how you're using it. If you're going to make sausage, like in that white bean stew, for example, that fat really helps the garlic and the stew get that flavor from the sausage when you cook it in the fat. So I'm just moving my pan off to the side. When we zoom back in, you'll see a little bit of a browning happening on the corner of our Dutch oven right here. Not a bad thing. Scary, not a bad thing now. I'm still on full blast high heat. We aren't afraid. We aren't afraid. What time are we at? Okay, good. Okay, so our vegetables are softening. Our biggest tell is these jalapenos. Let's see how bendy they are. Let me pick one up and just show you. Wee woo, wee woo. A little bit bendy. If I had all day, I would soften these vegetables until they were falling apart, but I don't. And our chicken will overcook if we go any longer. Let's do this. So, tomato product in. Just crushed tomatoes. I have whole peeled tomatoes here. I'm just going to crush the tomatoes with my spoon into the mix. We just want that break. The acidity from the tomato helps kind of break up all that fat that we have in here from the butter and the smoked sausage. So it's a nice relief. I'm going to turn down the peppers so we don't lose too much of that vinegar. So the tomatoes, when we add in, they'll start to caramelize. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I have a personal question. So I don't like chunky tomatoes at all. I can't stand a chunk of anything. Could I use like a tomato puree? Could I use tomato paste?
Totally. Yeah. Tomato, it does not discriminate. So whatever form you like tomato in best, go with that. If you're a tomato sauce girl, if you're a tomato paste girl, that's what I want to see.
Love it.
In here, I am just a big chunky tomato boy. I'm going to add in the jasmine rice, 1.5 cups. If you're not aware, this is how you can cook rice. This is how you should be cooking rice, in my opinion. The Cajuns, the Creole people, the Cajun people have it best. You season up your liquid, you season up your sofrito, and then you add that rice in so that rice absorbs all that beautiful flavor. Screw those rice cookers. They just cook your rice until it's perfect. And like, we love perfect rice, but without any flavor, any soul to it, like, what are we doing? So I have a really flavorful sofrito in here with those spices, with all that andouille sausage I rendered out, with the chicken breast, with that butter, with the smoked paprika. So the vegetables are coated in flavor. And now I added in just 3 cups of chicken broth. And what's going to happen with this is that it's going to come to a boil. I'm going to reduce it to the simmer. And I'm going to let this cook for about 20 minutes. And the rice is going to absorb all of that water and just become amazing.
We have a question from Janet. She loved the lesson on the red and green pepper. She wants to know what's the deal about the yellow and orange peppers? What are they like?
That's a great question. So those are just a specific variety of pepper. I'm not sure if those peppers start from green and then move into yellow and orange territory, if that's how they come up. I know that green go to red. But there are definitely there's purple peppers out there. Did you even know that? I saw that at a farmer's market one time. I almost shit my pants. It was crazy.
I would have never known.
I know. It's shocking. So there are just a bunch of different types of peppers, and I would say that those are one of them. So you do really want this to come up to a boil, because what's going to happen is the rice loves to stick to the bottom of this pan. And you do want to turn it to low, because when that rice does stick to the bottom of the pan, which it will, you are going to stir it. So this is not one of those things where this is not a rice cooker. You don't just set it and forget it. You got to come back to it. So I'm covering it now. I'm going to set a 15, actually I'm going to set a 10-minute timer so I could just stop and stir it, and then we'll finish it up. Let's check on our peppers. Look how easy that was, though. Look at 30 minutes into our class, and we already have a beautiful, I mean, this is every class. Come on, for my regulars, you know what I mean. But we're gonna have such a delicious stew. I wish I could serve you all. Sorry, Claudia, was I?
No, it's okay. Well, if you want to know, we have a gardening expert in the chat, and she said that
Ooh.
they start green, but then they'll mature to yellow and orange.
Oh,
So thank you for that tip. I'm glad we all learned something.
That is a great tip. Thank you for coming, gardening expert. Okay, so when do we cook these peppers to? Until they're just nice and soft. So I'm just kind of pushing them down. They feel a little soft to me. I feel like we started them about 10 minutes ago. We're gonna blend it. How's that garlic? Oh, the garlic could use a little bit longer. I'm gonna actually add a little bit more water to this because it is losing quite a bit of water. That is the joy of cooking, is sometimes you just have to roll with the punches. You know, I cook a lot, especially at this job, and I fail so much. And I think it's super important to fail as a cook because you just get better and better. And to just like, you know, if something doesn't come out the way that it was pictured in the recipe, or if you're losing too much water in your pepper sauce, just adjust. The glory of cooking, not the glory of baking, but the glory of cooking is you can just adjust. You can add, you can't take out, but you can add. All right, I'm gonna give this a mix. I'm a little early, 2 minutes early. Just give this a mix. We're not looking for fluffy, fork tender rice. We're just looking to make sure that that bottom does not burn. Oh, look at this, guys. Oh, if you could smell it, this will change your life. Jambalaya, I'm telling you. So, you know, I grew up in a big Italian family, and I had a lot of people in my family who just ate the same things. I think that's kind of common in a lot of households, that we just eat the same things. Not that I don't love pasta, because I do. I'm mostly pasta. My body is mostly pasta. But I really was like interested in going outside of that box and exploring the world. Kind of my first steps out into the world was learning how to cook new things to bring home to my family to try and eat. And jambalaya is definitely one of those. If you've been here for the chicken piccata night, that was one of my first things I made for my family. That was very much outside of the realm. It was Italian, but they weren't used to like crispy chicken and a wine sauce. And just like this, you know, we're used to rice. I think the way to opening up people's perspective to food is by using ingredients that everybody likes. No divisive ingredients in here. We love sausage, love chicken, love rice. Can't go wrong. Little jalapeno. My mom would say, oh, it's got a bite. But don't use the jalapeno, use green pepper. You don't have to add the hot sauce to it.
Love it. Speaking of rice, we have a rice question.
Ooh, rice
so
question.
You use jasmine rice, but could you use brown rice or a different kind of rice? How would that kind of affect the cooking?
That's a good question. So you can totally use those rices. You can use like minute rice if you're a minute rice person. You can use brown rice. The same thing goes with any rice that you're adding to this. Those are all long grain rices. Minute rice and brown rice are usually kind of cooked, unless you're buying the uncooked one, especially for minute rice. But yeah, it's the same process. The only difference is you're getting different parts of the grain. Pre-cooked rices. If you love brown rice, especially for the extra fiber, little bits of fiber that it adds to your day, go ahead and add it. I've made it with brown rice plenty of times before, and it works out perfectly. You get all the flavor in it too. So this is a very, very forgiving dish. You can use any rice that you have on hand, except short grain rice. Don't use that, like sticky rice, arborio rice. So as I'm stirring this, I'm using a wooden spoon because I'm really scraping the hell out of this bottom here, where you can just feel all the rice sticking to it. And it's going to make for a hell of a wash if you do not scrape the bottom. And especially when you're cooking it in tomato, my chef in culinary school would always tell me the sides of any pot are where all the liquid gold is, all the magical flavors are, because it's concentrated flavor that sticks to those sides. So you really can pick out chefs by how clean the sides of their pans are, because they're going to be scraping the crap out of it. Oh, I just want to eat it. I want to taste it. I'm impatient. Okay.
It looks so good. I bet it just smells really good in the studio. I am going back there after this class, and I'm sure I'm just gonna like smell the smokiness.
Oh, totally.
Definitely gonna try the hot sauce because I can't have the actual jambalaya, but I'm excited.
Okay.
Oh, quick question about ingredient question. If you were to add the shrimp, when would you add it in?
Good question. So
after?
Yeah, so I would sear the chicken or the shrimp if you were using the smoked sausage right after the smoked sausage, or if you weren't using smoked sausage right after the butter melts, but you have to pull the shrimp and hold it until the end, then reintroduce it because it will overcook so easily. Good question. Good questions all around today. I need a bowl. Mark, do you mind getting me a quart or a pint container, the plastic one? It's just such a small amount of pepper here that it's going to be a hell of a time trying to blend it with this big bowl here. Oh, 4 minutes. Thanks, Mark. Mark the handyman off the screen. He agreed to test the hot sauce for us, so you'll get to see Mark finally. His grand reveal. All right. I've talked about this enough. I've talked about this plenty. No, KitchenAid doesn't sponsor me. No, the inventor of the immersion blender didn't sponsor me. But this tool changed my life. It is so amazing. The best thing. It makes blending so easy. You'll want to blend everything, I promise you. So literally in a quart container, just pushing this down all the way into the liquid, and I'm blending it. Now, this is when the nose will start to get very sensitive to the smells happening, because we're blending those peppers, releasing that capsaicin fully, and we'll end up with a really thick pepper puree. But as that steam rises, whoo, and when you try and wash the pan too, be aware. But it's actually really fun. Like these are like the tricks to getting people better gifts. Food makes great presents. Make people food is like the most touching thing you can do, is take time out of your day to make something for somebody, and something that they can use, taste, think of you, all the things. So we can obviously keep our pepper sauce done like this, but we are going to strain it to get any of those bigger chunks out and separate that puree. I'm going to let this finish with this pot off so I can check on it. Oh, baby, that was a stick fest happening here. Stick fest 2023. Not a bad thing, guys. Not a bad thing. Let it stick to the pot. Let the rice have its fun. Let the rice have its fun. All right. Oh my good gravy. This smells so good. I'm going to taste it as soon as I'm done straining this. I'm going to taste you, baby. Okay. Let's strain. So just going to take a little spoon that I was cooking with. I'm going to just push it through a fine mesh sieve. We all have one of these by now. You don't need cheesecloth. Just need something really fine to keep some of those bigger pepper bits. But secret, totally saved this little paste here. This is like, has anyone heard of sambal olek? That green lidded chili paste you'd find at Asian markets. This is that chili paste right here. So you can save it, add it into some of those recipes. Every part of this you can use. We just want to really highlight some of that beauty. Oop, that's the timer. That was only 10 minutes too. So we got to check this rice, make sure it's Gucci. All right. Happy with that. I'm gonna take this away, off camera. All right, I'm gonna stir this up Mark is going to come over and taste our hot sauce for us. We love an off-camera, unbiased taste tester. And I'm going to taste the jambalaya. This is Mark. He runs the cameras. All right, hot sauce. He loves hot sauce. Big hot sauce fan. You took a big bite of that. Yum.
It's really good. Heat level, to me, like out of 10, 3 or 4.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Really tasty. Vinegary.
Yeah.
That's really
Nose
good.
runny. Love it. So guys,
And on camera or on through the screen, that looked like a really big bite. I was a little scared for Mark.
I was too. I
I
was
was a little
too.
scared, but
Oh yeah, Mark has eaten the Carolina Reaper before, so I
Oh,
think he burned
yes.
his taste buds off in 2019. So nothing faces him. So now I'm gonna, of course, finish this jambalaya with a little hot sauce, some of that beautiful, beautiful hot sauce we made. And you see that it's kind of a thicker hot sauce that we have here. If you want to thin it out, if you want to let it last longer, just add a little bit more water and vinegar to it, and it will carry that spice on its back. All right. I promised I'd taste. Let's taste. Taste some rice. Mm. 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 Okay, so the rice is still working its way, making its way downtown. And add a little salt. God, it's so good. It's even better than the test recipe I made, which makes me even happier for my crew here to get to eat it. I'm going to take a little bit more water because it's evaporated a lot of that water. I'm going to add a little bit more in. It's never a bad thing to add more water to something. It will only dilute the flavor. But if you're using it to cook, ooh, and the chicken is shredding in the, oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. So sorry, I'm scrutinizing you to all this deliciousness. Somebody better make it. Deborah, I'm making a vegetarian one for you. I promise. I got you, Deborah. Or Debbie. I don't know which you go by. Okay. A little water in there. I'm gonna clean up a little bit. I'm gonna taste some of this hot sauce just to show you how much I love you guys for coming. That was a big bite. Oh, it's delicious. Oh my God. It really is. Okay, that's great though. It's only a little bit of heat. As I'm talking, it's getting hotter. It's not that bad. What do I give it? I'll give it a 5. I think it's middle of the road spicy. But it's really good. It's really good. This is like a creamier hot sauce than we made last time. We still have some of it in the fridge actually. Oh, it's so good though. And then so adding a little bit to this, you get that smoky flavor. So this, this dish is really like highlighting, which is gleeked, highlighting a lot of flavors on your tongue. So umami and sour and sweet, spicy, smoky is not a taste flavor on your tongue, but it is that umami kind of satisfying taste, especially blended with that tomato. It just kind of mellows things out so well. How is this rice not done? It looks so cooked. Mark said, should he take a giant spoonful of the sauce while we're waiting?
if you do it, Mark, I'll pay you $10 when I get back.
A shot?
So Debbie asked about the hot
Debbie,
sauce.
yeah.
We kind of mentioned in the beginning kind of like where this kind of falls between like a Frank's or like a Tabasco. But you like, how hot would you say this is, like, I guess compared to those, like same kind of spice level, more mild, spicier?
We're talking about how spicy this is compared to
Yes.
Tabasco,
We
right?
talked, Tabasco, because we talked like if it's kind of between Tabasco and Frank's a little bit.
Do you mind grabbing the Tabasco out there? We're gonna do this for you, Debbie.
Taste test.
Taste test. Yeah, there's a big bottle. No, in the fridge. There's a big bottle of Louisiana hot sauce. We're gonna try this. Mark is gonna take a shot of our hot sauce while I taste the Louisiana hot sauce. Yeah, Tabasco. Sorry, it's Tabasco, not Louisiana. Tabasco. Whew, that's got flavor. I'm gonna do just as much. Cheers. We're doing shots, guys.
It's so good.
The torture.
Really good.
I love it. Thank you, Claudia, for the $10, Mark said. Okay, Debbie, this is not hot to me. This is less spicy than this, but this has not good flavor to it. Distilled vinegar, red pepper, and salt. It tastes wild. It doesn't taste nearly as sweet and as bright as this. I think you're gonna much prefer this, even over the spice. God, it just like reignited spice in my mouth. Ooh, don't mind me, guys. I've just got baby mouth. Okay, it's done. I turned the heat off. This is a good time for this rice to just kind of chill out. You can see though, little flecks of chicken. The chicken is so cooked that it's starting to fall apart. I'm gleeking so much. I don't know if it's a spicy sauce or if I'm just so hungry. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Nipples. Okay. Let's plate this up.
We have someone asking when they asked about adding shrimp. So would this be the time to add the shrimp back in?
Totally, yes. So now is the time to add in the shrimp. I'm scraping it all out. Yeah. Now's the time to add in the shrimp. Yeah. Period. Any of those fragile proteins you want to add in. Wow, that spicy sauce really got me. It got me. I got caught up in the moment. I'm just gonna plate it all for us. And the best part about this, leftovers, baby. You know, rice doesn't freeze super well, but when you have all these kind of flavors going through it, I wouldn't mind freezing some of these leftovers. And look at the pan too. You can see that we just got all of that flavor. Your pan should look clean. There should not be little black bits anywhere. It should look fresh and clean.
Elizabeth asked how you keep that pot so clean. This pot has been through the ringer. I'm
through the ringer.
I'm wondering how we continue to keep it clean. Is there any like tips or regimen that you do to keep that clean, or just dishwasher?
Well, it's the beauty. Yeah, it's the beauty of a dishwasher and the beauty of a gentle soak. Get yourself a really good. I'll wait till the camera's on. Get yourself a really good heavy duty cast iron Dutch oven. Really, really nice, really, really flavorful. It's just like a good pot to be cooking things in. And they clean so well, especially compared to stainless steel. They'll get a little bit of wear and tear in some of the corners here, but nothing too wild. So you even get a little hot sauce in the end to finish things up, just for all your patrons. And then a nice spoon to serve. This plate is mine. I don't know what my coworkers think that they're gonna eat, but this is my serving. Gorgeous, you guys. Look at, can we see all the beautiful little specks of smoked sausage, andouille sausage kind of running through it. Those jalapenos cooked up beautifully. Our rice isn't mushy. It's perfectly done. And all you have to do to know if your rice is done is taste it. It's all you have to do. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to perfectly time it. You don't have to worry about, oh, am I opening the lid too much? No. This is your house. You're cooking the rice. You get to taste it how you want to taste it. So again, guys, we are hitting that 1 hour marker, 52 minutes to be exact, to make this beautiful, beautiful jambalaya. Feed the whole family. A little hot sauce for the next day for your eggs, or whatever you want to do that with that hot sauce. A great gift. Just stock up on some peppers when next time you're at the farmer's market. But again, thank you guys so much. This has been Cajun Favorites. Debbie, we're coming back with a vegetarian menu, I promise. I am in the crux of like writing a whole bunch of menus, so I'd love some feedback on any menus you guys are looking for me to make, maybe test out for y'all. I'm a jack of all trades. I can do it all, baby. So thank you guys for coming back again. I so appreciate my loyal following that we have so far. My newbies here, please come back. We're doing fun stuff every week. We're making Mark taste shots of hot sauce every week now for $10 from Claudia. So thank you guys. Cheers. Have a great dinner tonight, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks everyone for joining. We have so much love in the chat. Everyone cannot wait to make this. Looks so good even through the screen. So thanks Chef Dom again for taking time to giving us some tips, showing us a delicious meal. I hope everyone makes it. Send it to us if you make this, you want to see it. But thanks again for joining us. You'll receive an email with a recording of the class, so you can watch it again if you really want to make this. Hopefully you didn't write everything down because you'll get a recording. You can see it all again. And then we look forward to seeing you another time. I love our returners. If you're a first timer, hope to see you again. Keep an eye on our website for a few more of these classes that we have coming up. I know we have a Hawaiian one. I think that'll be super fun. Love to have you come back and cook with us again. And I'm going to drop a survey in the chat. We love if you guys would fill that out, give us some feedback. And again, like I said, I just put the link, so you'll receive that in your email. But once again, thanks Chef Dom, and we hope to see everyone again soon.